Every American senior living alone knows the same quiet truth. A few eggs in the refrigerator means dinner is always within reach, no matter how thin the week or how tired the day. For decades, eggs were the answer when cooking for one. Cheap, fast, gentle on older teeth, and endlessly forgiving. If you have ever cooked for just yourself at the end of a long day, you already know these meals. These are 25 cheap American egg dinners for seniors living alone that cost pennies, straight from the 1960s and 70s. Subscribe before we begin. The countdown starts now. Soft scrambled eggs on toast. The gentlest supper there is. Soft, creamy scrambled eggs spooned over buttered toast, easy on the teeth and ready in minutes. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Today, around 60 cents. Butter and white bread. Total then under 15 cents. Today, under $1.50. Fed 1. You beat the eggs with a splash of milk. You cook them low and slow in butter, stirring gently until soft and creamy. You spoon them over buttered toast. The eggs go soft and pillowy. The toast crunches underneath. The butter ties it together. Soft scrambled eggs came from universal home cooking. By 1972, they were a go-to supper for seniors living alone nationwide. 2 eggs and a slice of toast, a gentle supper for one. Egg in a basket. The supper of an egg fried right in a hole cut from a slice of bread. 1 pan, 2 minutes, almost no money. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1973. White bread and butter. Total then under 10 cents. Today under $1. Fed 1. You cut a hole in a slice of bread. You butter it and lay it in a hot pan. You crack an egg into the hole and fry until set. The bread goes golden. The egg sets in the center. The yolk stays soft for dipping. Egg in a basket came from American and English home cooking. By 1973, it was a beloved one-person supper nationwide. An egg fried in toast, supper for pennies in 1 pan. Egg drop soup. The warm, soothing soup that swirled a beaten egg into hot broth. Light, gentle, and ready in 5 minutes. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1972. Broth and green onion. Total then under 15 cents. Today under $1.50. Fed 1. You bring broth to a boil. You slowly pour in beaten egg while stirring to make silky ribbons. You finish with green onion. The broth goes savory. The egg forms delicate ribbons. The onion brightens it. Egg drop soup came from Chinese-American home cooking. By 1972, it was a gentle one-person supper nationwide. A single egg swirled into broth, soothing and warm. Creamed eggs on toast. The comforting supper of hard-boiled eggs in a creamy white sauce over toast. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. Butter, flour, milk, and bread. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You make a white sauce with butter, flour, and milk. You fold in chopped hard-boiled eggs. You spoon it over toast. The sauce goes ivory and rich. The eggs go tender. The toast soaks it up. Creamed eggs on toast came from American and military home cooking. By 1973, it was a comforting one-person supper nationwide. Hard-boiled eggs in cream sauce, gentle and filling. Spanish omelet. The filling omelet folded around a savory tomato, onion, and pepper filling. A whole supper from a couple of eggs. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Tomato, onion, and green pepper. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You cook onion, pepper, and tomato in a pan. You pour beaten eggs over and cook until set. You fold it over. The omelet goes golden. The vegetables stay savory inside. The eggs hold it together. Spanish omelet came from American interpretations of Spanish cooking. By 1972, it was a hearty one-person supper nationwide. A couple of eggs folded into a whole savory supper. Eggs and fried potatoes. The diner-style supper of crisp fried potatoes with eggs cooked right in. Filling and cheap. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. A potato, onion, and grease. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You fry diced potato and onion until golden. You crack eggs over the top and cook until set. The potatoes go crisp. The eggs go soft. The onion sweetens everything. Eggs and fried potatoes came from American diner and home cooking. By 1973, it was a filling one-person supper nationwide. Potatoes and eggs in one pan, a diner supper for one. Cooking for one is its own quiet art. A few eggs and a warm pan turn a solitary evening into a real supper, and that matters more than anyone says. Deviled egg plate. The light supper of halved, hard-boiled eggs filled with a creamy, seasoned yolk. Easy to make ahead and eat all week. 3 eggs cost a few cents in 1972. Mayonnaise, mustard, and paprika. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You hard-boil the eggs and halve them. You mash the yolks with mayonnaise and mustard. You fill the whites and dust with paprika. The filling goes creamy. The paprika dusts the top. Egg foo young. The American Chinese egg patty filled with vegetables, fried and topped with a quick gravy. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. Bean sprouts, onion, and soy sauce. Total then under 25 cents. Today under $3. Fed 1. You mix beaten eggs with sprouts and onion. You fry into patties. You top with a quick soy gravy. The patty goes golden. The vegetables stay crisp inside. The gravy ties it together. Egg foo young came from Chinese-American home cooking. By 1973, it was a one-person supper nationwide. An egg patty with gravy, takeout flavor for Pennies. Poached eggs on toast. The light, gentle supper of poached eggs set over buttered toast, soft and easy to eat. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. White bread and butter. Total then under 15 cents. Today under $1.50. Fed 1. You poach the eggs in simmering water until the whites set. You lay them over buttered toast. The whites go tender. The yolk runs into the toast. The butter enriches it. Poached eggs on toast came from English and American home cooking. By 1972, they were a gentle one-person supper nationwide. Soft poached eggs over toast, easy and gentle. Egg salad sandwich. The cool, creamy sandwich made from chopped, hard-boiled eggs. No cooking needed beyond boiling. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. Mayonnaise, mustard, and bread. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You hard-boil and chop the eggs. You mix with mayonnaise and mustard. You spread it on bread. The egg salad goes creamy. The mustard sharpens it. The bread is soft around it. Egg salad came from American thrift cooking. By 1973, it was a no-cook, one-person supper nationwide. A cool egg salad sandwich. Supper without the stove. Eggs in tomato sauce. The cozy supper of eggs poached right in a simmering tomato sauce, eaten with bread. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Canned tomatoes, onion, and bread. Total then under 25 cents. Today under $3. Fed 1. You simmer tomatoes with onion. You crack eggs into the sauce and cook until set. You serve with bread for dipping. The sauce goes rich and red. The eggs poach soft. The bread soaks it up. Eggs and tomato sauce came from Italian and Mediterranean traditions. By 1972, it was a cozy one-person supper nationwide. Eggs poached in tomato, a warm supper with bread. Cheese omelet. The simple omelet folded around melted cheese, rich, filling, and ready in minutes. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. Cheddar and butter. Total then under 20 cents. Today, under $2. Fed 1. You beat the eggs and pour them into a buttered pan. You scatter cheese on top. You fold it over as it sets. The omelet goes golden. The cheese melts inside. The eggs stay tender. Cheese omelet came from universal home cooking. By 1973, it was a quick one-person supper nationwide. A cheese omelet, rich and filling, in minutes. Egg and rice bowl. The warming supper of a soft egg over hot buttered rice with a splash of soy sauce. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1972. Rice, butter, and soy sauce. Total then under 15 cents. Today under $1.50. Fed 1. You heat buttered rice in a bowl. You fry or soft boil an egg and set it on top. You add a splash of soy sauce. The rice goes warm and buttery. The egg yolk runs into it. The soy sauce flavors it all. Egg and rice bowls came from Asian American and thrift cooking. By 1972, they were a warming one-person supper nationwide. A soft egg over warm rice. Supper for pennies. You set the table for 1. You light the kitchen against the quiet. And a warm egg supper made just for you is a small but real act of caring for yourself. Fried egg sandwich. The classic supper of a fried egg between 2 slices of buttered bread. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1973. White bread and butter. Total then under 10 cents. Today under $1. Fed 1. You fry an egg until the white sets and the yolk stays soft. You lay it between buttered bread. The egg is hot and rich. The yolk soaks into the bread. The butter ties it together. The fried egg sandwich came from universal working-class cooking. By 1973, it was a beloved one-person supper nationwide. A fried egg sandwich, the simplest supper there is. Baked eggs in ramekins. The gentle supper of eggs baked in a little dish with cream until just set. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Cream, butter, and cheese. Total then under 25 cents. Today under $3. Fed 1. You butter a ramekin. You crack in eggs, add a spoon of cream and cheese, and bake until just set. The eggs go soft and creamy. The cheese melts on top. The cream enriches it. Baked eggs came from French and American home cooking. By 1972, they were a gentle one-person supper nationwide. Eggs baked in cream, a soft and elegant supper for 1. Egg curry. The mild curry that simmered hard-boiled eggs in a savory sauce over rice. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. Onion, curry powder, and rice. Total then under 25 cents. Today, under $3. Fed 1. You make a mild curry sauce with onion and curry powder. You add halved hard-boiled eggs. You serve over rice. The sauce goes savory and warm. The eggs soak it up. The rice rounds it out. Egg curry came from American interpretations of Indian cooking. By 1973, it was an adventurous one-person supper nationwide. Hard-boiled eggs in curry, a warming supper over rice. Western omelet. The hearty omelet folded around ham, onion, and pepper, a diner classic at home. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. A little ham, onion, and pepper. Total then under 30 cents. Today under $3. Fed 1. You cook ham, onion, and pepper in a pan. You pour beaten eggs over and cook until set. You fold it. The omelet goes golden. The ham and vegetables fill it. The eggs hold it together. The Western omelet came from American diner cooking. By 1972, it was a hearty one-person supper nationwide. A diner Western omelet made at home for pennies. Egg and cheese toast. The quick supper of a fried egg and melted cheese on toast under the broiler. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1973. Cheese and bread. Total then under 15 cents. Today under $1.50. Fed 1. You fry an egg and lay it on toast. You top with cheese and broil until it melts. The cheese melts over the egg. The toast crunches. The yolk runs through it. Egg and cheese toast came from American home cooking. By 1973, it was a quick one-person supper nationwide. Egg and melted cheese on toast. Supper in minutes. That single egg supper carries something quiet and strong. The steady refusal to let living alone mean eating poorly. The daily choice to make even a meal for one a real meal. Scotch woodcock. The old-fashioned supper of soft scrambled eggs over anchovy toast. Rich and savory. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Butter, bread, and a little anchovy paste. Total then under 25 cents. Today under $3. Fed 1. You spread anchovy paste on buttered toast. You spoon soft scrambled eggs over it. The eggs go creamy. The anchovy adds a savory depth. The toast holds it all. Scotch woodcock came from British cooking that crossed into America. By 1972, it was a savory one-person supper. Soft eggs over savory toast. A rich, old-fashioned supper. Egg dumpling soup. The soothing soup with little egg dumplings dropped into broth. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1973. Flour, broth, and onion. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You mix egg and flour into a soft batter. You drop bits into simmering broth and cook until they float. The dumplings go soft. The broth goes savory. The whole bowl is warm and soothing. Egg dumpling soup came from German and Eastern European traditions. By 1973, it was a comforting one-person supper. Little egg dumplings in broth, soothing and warm. Shirred eggs. The simple baked eggs cooked in a buttered dish until the whites set and the yolks stayed soft. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Butter and bread. Total then under 15 cents. Today under $1.50. Fed 1. You butter a dish and crack in eggs. You bake until the whites set. You serve with toast. The whites go tender. The yolks stay soft. The toast scoops it up. Shirred eggs came from French and American home cooking. By 1972, they were a gentle one-person supper. Eggs baked soft in butter, simple and gentle. Tomato and egg stir. The quick supper that scrambled eggs with fresh tomato into a soft, savory dish over rice. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. A tomato, onion, and rice. Total then under 20 cents. Today, under $2. Fed 1. You cook tomato and onion until soft. You pour in beaten eggs and stir until just set. You serve over rice. The eggs go soft. The tomato turns saucy. The rice soaks it up. Tomato and egg came from Chinese-American home cooking. By 1973, it was a quick one-person supper. Eggs and tomato over rice. Savory and quick. Egg and potato hash. The filling supper that fried leftover potatoes with eggs into a hearty hash. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. Leftover potatoes, onion, and grease. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You fry leftover potatoes with onion until crisp. You crack eggs over and scramble them in. The potatoes go crisp. The eggs bind it. The onion sweetens everything. Egg and potato hash came from universal thrift cooking. By 1972, it was a filling one-person supper. Leftover potatoes and eggs, a hearty hash for one. French toast for supper. The gentle supper of bread soaked in egg and milk, fried until golden. Soft, sweet, and easy to eat. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. Bread, milk, and butter. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You soak bread in beaten egg and milk. You fry it in butter until golden on both sides. Egg and onion scramble. The simple supper that scrambled eggs with sweet cooked onion into a soft, savory dish. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1972. An onion and butter. Total then under 15 cents. Today under $1.50. Fed 1. You cook sliced onion in butter until soft and golden. You pour in beaten eggs and scramble gently. The onion goes sweet. The eggs go soft. The butter ties it together. Egg and onion scramble came from Jewish and Eastern European home cooking. By 1972, it was a gentle one-person supper. Eggs and sweet onion, a soft and savory supper for one. Egg flip. The warm, frothy drink meal of egg beaten with hot milk and a little sugar. Gentle on a thin night. 1 egg cost a few cents in 1972. Milk and sugar. Total then under 10 cents. Today under $1. Fed 1. You beat an egg with sugar. You whisk in hot milk slowly until frothy and warm. You dust with nutmeg. The drink goes frothy and warm. The egg makes it rich. The nutmeg perfumes it. The egg flip came from old American and English nourishing traditions. By 1972, it was a gentle one-person supper in a glass. A warm, frothy egg drink, gentle nourishment for one. Egg hash browns. The supper of crisp, shredded potato hash browns with eggs cooked right on top. 2 eggs cost a nickel in 1973. A potato, onion, and grease. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $2. Fed 1. You fry shredded potato until crisp and golden. You crack eggs on top and cook until set. The hash browns go crisp. The eggs go soft. The onion sweetens it. Egg hash browns came from American diner and home cooking. By 1973, it was a filling one-person supper. Crisp hash browns topped with eggs, a diner supper for one.
Hoe cakes. The bread of people who had no oven, no time, and no money for yeast. Cornmeal, water, salt, and a hot skillet. That was the entire recipe, and it fed the American South for 200 years. White cornmeal cost 3 cents a cup in 1962. Today, around 20 cents. Water, salt, and bacon drippings. Total then under 5 cents. Today, under $1. Fed 4. You mix cornmeal with boiling water and salt into a loose batter. You heat bacon drippings in a cast iron skillet until they shimmer. You spoon the batter in flat rounds. You fry 3 minutes per side until the edges go lacy and dark gold. The outside crisps. The inside stays soft and steaming. The bacon fat perfumes every bite. Hoe cakes came from Native American cornmeal traditions, adapted by enslaved Africans and poor Southern whites in the 1700s. By 1962, they were still the daily summer bread in working-class homes across the rural South. No oven heat in July. That was the whole reason they survived. Tomato dumplings. When the garden gave more tomatoes than a family could eat, this turned the surplus into supper. Stewed tomatoes with soft dumplings dropped right into the pot, almost free in August. Garden tomatoes cost nothing in 1962. A can cost 10 cents. Flour, baking powder, milk, butter, and sugar. Total then under 20 cents. Today, under $3. Fed 5. You stew tomatoes with butter, sugar, and salt until bubbling. You mix flour, baking powder, and milk into a soft dough. You drop spoonfuls onto the simmering tomatoes. You cover and cook 15 minutes without lifting the lid. The dumplings puff white and soft. They soak up the sweet tomato underneath. The whole pot goes red and golden. Tomato dumplings came from Appalachian and Southern thrift cooking in the early 1900s. By 1962, they were the August supper in working-class homes, drowning in garden tomatoes. The garden glut became dinner. Nothing went to waste. Vinegar slaw. The slaw for people who had no mayonnaise, no refrigerator to keep it cold, or no money for either. Cabbage from the garden, vinegar from the pantry, and a little sugar. It kept for days in the summer heat without spoiling. A head of cabbage cost 10 cents in 1963, today around $2. Vinegar, sugar, salt, and celery seed. Total then under 15 cents, today under $3. Fed 8. You shred the cabbage fine. You heat vinegar with sugar, salt, and celery seed until the sugar dissolves. You pour it hot over the cabbage and toss. You let it sit 1 hour until the cabbage wilts and softens. The cabbage goes tangy and tender. The vinegar bites. The sugar rounds it off. Vinegar slaw came from German and Appalachian cooking traditions where mayonnaise was a luxury and vinegar was always on hand. By 1963, it was the summer slaw in working-class Southern and Midwestern homes. It did not spoil in the heat. That mattered more than anything in July of 1963. Here is something nobody says out loud. The garden did not make her poor. The garden made her free. Every tomato she grew was a meal nobody could take away from her. Cold potato salad with mustard. The summer dish made in the cool of the morning and kept in the cellar or the icebox for the hottest part of the day. No mayonnaise needed, just mustard, vinegar, and a little sugar. Potatoes cost 20 cents for 5 pounds in 1963. Today around $3. Mustard, vinegar, onion, and hard-boiled eggs. Total then under 40 cents. Today under $4. Fed 8. You boil potatoes until tender and dice them. You mix mustard, vinegar, sugar, and salt into a dressing. You toss it with the warm potatoes, diced onion, and chopped hard-boiled egg. You chill it. The potatoes absorb the tangy dressing. The mustard sharpens everything. The egg adds richness. Mustard potato salad came from German immigrant traditions across the Midwest and South. By 1963, it was the summer picnic standard in working-class homes that could not afford or keep mayonnaise in the heat. Made cool, kept cool, eaten cool. The whole strategy of a southern summer. Pole beans with ham hock. The summer bean that climbed the garden fence all season and fed a family for months when cooked low and slow with a single smoky ham hock that flavored the whole pot. Pole beans cost nothing from the garden. A ham hock cost 15 cents in 1963. onion, and salt. Total then under 20 cents. Today under $4. Fed 6. You snap the pole beans into pieces. You drop them in a pot with a ham hock, halved onion, and water. You simmer 2 hours until the beans go completely soft and the broth turns smoky and rich. The beans go olive dark and tender. The pot liquor turns smoky. The ham hock flavors everything. Pole beans with ham hock came from Southern and Appalachian garden cooking. By 1963, they were a summer-long supper in working-class homes where the bean fence fed the family from June to September. 1 ham hock, a whole summer of beans. That was the math. Here is where things get personal. You think you remember the food. You really remember the smell, coming through a screen door on a July evening, and a voice calling you in to eat.